Parray is quite a useful particle system. What this particle system will do is it will take an object, like the one I've created here, the torus, and turn it into the emitter, which can be used to do a various number of effects. My favourite way of using this particular as an array is to make it look like an object has blown off its outer skin. So if we wanted to say show this torus spreading a skin, or a skin flying away from it and something else appearing underneath of it, this is a way of doing this. And what we're going to do is just have a quick play with this. So this icon I'm going to create for the Parray can be created anywhere, because as you can see in the controllers, the first thing we have to do is pick the object that's going to become the emitter, or the object-based emitter. So then we pick the torus, and here we can see we've already got a particle that's appeared. So what I'm going to do is tell the formulation of particles to formulate or form from all over the surface of this torus. So as I drag out the time slider here, you can see that particles are appearing from randomly all over the surface. Next bit down is the icon size, and this is just the size of the Parray icon, and this icon can be moved and placed anywhere. So I'm just going to move it and just place it here. Okay, I'll just go back to modifying that. As you can see, there's quite a few controllers. Alright, then we've got the displayed types of particles. From ticks, we can change them to dots, meshes, and so on. I'm just going to leave it at ticks. Percentage of particles, just change it to 100. I'm just going to go over to particle generation. Here we can see we've got particle quality, use rate, use total. We can control the rate. This is just the rate of particles that are going to be emitted from the surface of this object. So as you can see, they're getting pretty messy quite quickly here. Alright, let's move on. We can change the speed of the particles. Now they're very fast moving particles. Variation of the speed. We'll skip over the last one there. The particle timing, in other words, what time frame it's going to start at. So I could have it start at 5. How long or when it's going to stop, so I could have it stop at 35. The displayed number of particles and the lifespan of each particle. Then we've got a variation of that. Just skip over the subframe sampling and we'll move down to particle size. Again, this is just simply the size of the particles, the variation on size, the growth from, fade from, the unique seed or the number which controls the particle system, and then we've got particle types. Standard is just going to generate little dots basically. Meta is going to generate a metaparticle. Object fragments, this is quite different. If I just slide that back to 5, here you can see it's going to take faces of the object and basically turn that into the particle system. And this is the way where you could make it look like the torus is blowing off an outer skin. Or you can instance a bit of geometry. In other words, it's going to look like, you know, whatever's balls, dots, darts, whatever you want to come flying out of this torus, you could instance those to be the individual particles. So I'm just going to leave mine at object. Here we've got the controllers for this. We can set the thickness. We can, control the number. I'll just set it to all faces. We could set the smooth angles. So you see not much is happening with that one. So I'm just going to leave it at all faces. Alright, we can map different materials onto them. Moving along now, we got all the rotation stuff and object motion inheritance, bubble motion and particle spray information that you'd expect to see with most particle systems. Again, you want to experiment with these and have a play. Unfortunately, if I was to sit here and play with all of the controllers, we'd spend most of the day just making particle systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply my little red material to that particle system, go back to my perspective view and just quickly render that off so we can see what's going to happen. Now, we shouldn't see anything happening until about frame 5. So here we can see now that individual faces of the torus have become red and are now flying away from the torus. Now if I'd started my particle system at frame 1, we would have seen the redness all over that from frame 1. And if I had made it 100% of the surface covered, we wouldn't have seen any bits of blue. So it's a pretty unique way of getting some special effects. We can then apply special effects to the individual particles like motion blur, so that when these things fly away from the torus it's all blurred and you can see, well, you get the feel of speed because the objects look like they're travelling so fast. We can do all sorts of things like that.